Hello, I'm coming to you looking like an absolute thumb because I just got out of the shower. It is like 9:45 at night and I'm just fucking doing this thing. I'm fucking doing the thing. I am sick of my shit. And here's why. Because I want to read this book so badly. Like, I've never wanted to read this book more in my life than I do right now. And I keep telling myself, you can't read that. And I'm like, why the fuck can't I read it? The other part of my brain is like, well, you want to vlog reading this. And I'm like, yeah, so? And then the other part of my brain's like, well, you don't ever look cute enough to start a vlog. And I'm like, okay, valid. But also, why do I care? I don't know. I just want to read this book that I've been putting off for probably, when did this come out? Like 4 years ago? I've been putting this book off for 4 years because I never feel vloggy ready to document me crying for 1,000 pages. And I just feel like it's blizzarding outside. It's February. We're in the midst of a year-long pandemic. It's almost the anniversary. That has me feeling all type of ways. And so why not read a book that you know is going to make you cry? So hopefully, if future Jordan does what current Jordan wants her to do, she will eventually film a video, like a normal video where she has like makeup and shit on and does not look like, I do right now. And I can film like an intro that's like cute enough where it grabs your attention, where you're interested in staying, because this is not, and I know this isn't grabbing your attention. You're not like, fuck yeah, I want to watch that bitch and watch her read and cry. You're thinking like, she's mentally unstable, and you're not wrong. But anyway, I don't know. What was that? I have my book. It's upside down. I have my book. I have my page flags, and I am going to put something on the TV. Don't know what yet, but I'm going to sit here and I'm going to fucking read this book that I've been wanting to read forever. This is what I'm talking about. When my goal for 2021 is to stop letting stupid shit that isn't important bother me. Like, this isn't important. It doesn't matter how cute my face looks on the internet. The content is about the book and the reading experience, not my face. Leaving anxiety and worries in the past and moving on to a brighter future with Rowan and Aylin and Lysandra and Adian and Elide and Lorcan, already in a happier place. I'll see you guys later. We are looking like a whole ass snack today. Sunday morning. I want to read a little bit of my book today before I get into the things of the day. But I wanted to tell you, because I haven't had the chance to tell you quite yet. I'm not very far. Oh, okay, so Jordan did not save her page last night. I wanted to make I'm sorry, you can hear my mom screaming about gloves with my brother on the phone. I wanted to make a point because back in the day, I'll link on the screen here, I filmed a video about my theories, my predictions, my, whatever for the Throne of Glass series or for Court of Thorns and Roses. I don't remember actually which one. Queen of Shadows. I think it was Queen of Shadows crackpot theories. Wow, what a flashback. Still one of my favorite videos I've ever made. But I kept mentioning about how I thought that these characters were embodiments of gods. And I'm only maybe like 14 pages into this book, and they've already mentioned the gods like at least 4 or 5 times. And that makes me so happy because I think I might be right, or I might be like in the right realm or something. So I'm really excited to see what comes of that. It's still very early in the story. I'm sad because Lysandra and Adian don't like each other. Well, Adian is the only perspective we've really read from, and he does not like Lysandra. So that makes me sad because I just want them to be together so badly. I've done a really, really good job of not being spoiled for this book. Like, this came out so many years ago and I've never been spoiled for it. And I'm really impressed and proud of myself for that. What you doing? You watching the birdie? The birdie? I think it's a little too cold for the birdies to be out. It's only like 3 degrees. My favorite thing is when I'm vlogging and forget for weeks that I'm supposed to be vlogging. Today is Wednesday, February 17th. I went and got my first COVID vaccine yesterday, so I took today off of work, which means I've just been reading Kingdom of Ash, which is the whole point of this video. And okay, that hurt my arm. Playing Spyro. Actually, I should more accurately say dying in Spyro, because I just keep dying. And I cannot stop myself, and I remember this game being a lot easier when I was like 8. Why is it so much harder now? I've also got my adorable co-star, who is really giving me some nasty looks right now. My arm, that's like been my two symptoms today have been my arm feels like it has going to fall off of my body. It hurts so bad. And the second is that I slept for over 13 hours last night. I couldn't have woken up at 5 a.m. to go to work this morning if I tried. I'm on page 230. Oh, I'm a lot further into this book than I thought I was. And I've got some tabs going. I've got some tabs. I noticed, oh, I might have mentioned this already. Things are coming back to me. I think I mentioned and talked already about how she references the gods like constantly, and that is continuing to be a theme 230 pages into the book. We're still talking about the gods. We're still talking about how the gods aren't really gods, but are like creatures from another world who they have perceived to be gods. Similarly to how like Thor is obviously a Norse god, but in Marvel, he's also an alien from another planet. Also been a few moments where I was surprised. I've got four orange tabs in here. I think the first one, obviously there's tons of couples in this book and someone's going to be pregnant. Like that's just what's gonna happen. There's too many people getting down and jiggy with it for someone to not get pregnant. The first one is Irene, which I'm not surprised by at all. You know, her and Kayla are married. I feel like they're the most like, yes, family-ish. Yes, family-ish, that didn't make any sense. But I feel like they're the most like there in terms of the rest of the cast. So she has hinted that she is pregnant. That was at page 74, 230 pages in. We haven't heard it mentioned again. So I'm wondering what's going to happen with that. That was quite a shocker. I do suspect that if Aelin and Rowan both make it to the end of this book, which I feel like if they don't, you're going to be seeing a lot of sobbing hysterics in this vlog, but I suspect that Aelin and Rowan will have kids by the end of this book, probably in an epilogue. But yes, that was my first shocker. The second was when the spider shapeshift into a human. My mind was blown, and then it's the same spider that, oh, what was his name? Shapeshifter that we meet in Tower of Dawn. What is his name? I can't remember. It's Lysandra's uncle. The spider that we meet in this book is the one that he stole her silk from. I took 2 decades from a young merchant's life in exchange for my silk. The gift of his shifting flowed through his life force, some of it at least. He willingly paid the price because, you know, Manon just stole from the spider. Now Dorian's trying to shapeshift. I was shocked that Nox was back. I shouldn't have been, because it was obvious that like we were gonna see Nox again, but we hadn't seen Nox for so many books now, and there was like never a way for her to slip him in as a character. Here we have Nox working in the Terracin camps. He works for Lord Darrow, and I was so excited to see him. And then when another one of Lord Darrow's messengers ends up being a Valg that doesn't need to be controlled by a ring or a collar, I was shook. He basically outed Lysandra as not being Aelin. He sent a message to his commanders that Aelin is not in the camps in Terracin like everybody thinks, because obviously we know that she's not, but Lysandra's playing this ruse. That is kind of where we're at right now. There's one other thing I wanted to talk about. Maeve told this whole story about how she came to be married to the Valg Prince, how she escaped the Valg Prince, how she came into their world, and that was really interesting. I really liked learning that side of the story and things. It really puts Maeve into like a different perspective. Creature from a world that married another creature that was very powerful from another world, whose only interest was war and killing. And he constantly left her behind. She became infatuated with the library and with learning, and she like taught herself how to do all these things. Like, she's not a good person, obviously. You don't want to humanize your villains, but it really put a different layer onto the Maeve character. Like, I feel like we're constantly peeling back layers of Maeve, like she's an onion or an ogre. It's time for a reading update. We are in the same place. It's many, many days later. I had to put my reading on hold for a few days so I could read the book club pick for February. And now that that is over, we can resume. Throne of Glass. Not quite halfway, just shy of halfway. I'm on page 419. And I don't remember what we last talked about, but I feel like there's been so much that has happened. The two of like our crews have met up. It's like they're all over the continents and like doing their own tasks, or they have been for the first half of this book. But now Aelin and Rowan and Fenris and Gabriel and Lorcan and Alid, like that whole group, because Aelin's been saved, met up with like Sartak and Kale and Irene and Borte and all the people from the southern continent. Falcon is now young again because Dorian killed the Stygian spider, who was trying to teach him how to shapeshift, and he shapeshifted into a raven after many failed attempts. They are telling Aelin devastating news that Maeve is a Valg queen, but what's interesting is they talk about her owl, and I'm so intrigued to find out who her owl, like what her owl is, or like who her owl is. I think I have thought previously that it might be Anthril, who was like one of the lovers of Maeve, or Mab or Mala, I can't remember which one. I think it was one of their lovers. Owl in this series represents like the healers. It's the goddess Silba. So like, is the owl Silba? Is the owl like, why an owl? Why is Maeve's sigil an owl when she's so terrified of the healers, whose also sigil is the owl? Like, is that just her being a little shit? And they finally mentioned it on this page. But she fears the healers, a nod toward Irene. She keeps that owl, you said, an enslaved Fae healer, should the Valg ever discover her. So it's a Fae who can obviously shapeshift into an owl, or did she just like, was it always an owl, or did she like force an owl? I have so many questions. I can't wait until we get a reveal. It's Maeve. It's fucking Maeve. It's gotta be somebody important. I'm gonna be really bummed if it's not. If it's just like some random healer that's been an owl for millennia. I'm just slowly trucking along through this book. There's a lot of things that are happening, but it's also like happening at a slower pace, I feel like, than a lot of her books. Like there's stuff happening, but it's moving a little bit slowly. I'm still like really enjoying the pace, even though we're not doing things very quickly. Oh my God, there was this scene between Aedion and Lysandra made me very upset. Lysandra takes on the form of Aelin to go out into the field to fight because the armies in the north were just being incinerated by the Valg that were like marching on them, and they kept the soldiers were like fleeing because they're like, our queen's not here to protect us, she would never do this to us. And, you know, she's been pretending to be Aelin, and they're like, why isn't she here? We've seen her. Where's her power? Where's her fire? Lysandra takes on the form of her, and obviously doesn't have magic when she does it. Basically like sacrifices herself to rally the troops, and Aedion's like, I take it all back, as he's like running through the battlefields trying to save her. And I'm like, I swear to God, if you two do not end up together at the end of this book, I am going to riot. I am going to be so mad. Like, they're the one couple that's like been a couple for books now, but like won't admit that they're a couple and like won't confront their feelings. And I'm frustrated, and I just want them to be together. I need it like I need oxygen. That is the one thing I am hoping will happen in the next 500 pages, and if it doesn't, I'm going to be so mad. Believe me, I understand that every single clip for this vlog is in this spot, and I'm still playing Spyro and dying. I've died 3 times now trying to do this jump. I understand that there's not much that has happened in this vlog, and I apologize for that. I'm sorry, I just knocked into that trying to put the switch away. I did though go and get some hair. In the meantime, it's like in a half pony situation. It's very dirty. I haven't washed it since I got it. I got that on Monday. I don't think I've talked to you guys since before that. Oh, has it been that long? I don't remember what we last talked about, but I am definitely more than halfway, which is so exciting, and I have been really stinking enjoying this. The lead and Lorcan scenes that are sending me over the edge. There's this whole moment that happens in Aniel where they've gone to defeat one of Morith's armies, because like Morith is like all over the place. Okay, Erwin, Maeve, they've got armies in like all the places, because there are so many different things happening at once in these books that sometimes it's hard for me to keep track. But Kale, Aelin, Rowan, and that whole crew, Irene, they go to Aniel, and this dam's about to break and flood the entire valley, of which Lorcan is currently fighting in. And he's down there because he had this whole big spat and fight with Irene, and she was like kicked him in the snow and essentially like told him piss off. And then when she finds out he's about to die, she loses it and steals Kale's horse. The cat is creeping back there. Rides this horse across the fields, screaming for Lorcan, and just these, oh my God, all of the scenes of these two trying to get back to the keep, and he's like, you have to leave me, Irene. And she's like, I'm not leaving you. And he's like, I'm too much weight. You have to leave me. I was like on the verge of tears, okay? It was just so emotional, and I love these two together, and I was really hoping they'd have a reconciliation, and they do. Lorcan's just a big softie, and only for her, only for a lead. He doesn't give two shits about anybody else, but he loves her so much, and he tells her that, and she accepts his love, and I want them to live together happily ever after. Like, if they die, to be honest, if anybody dies in this book that's not the villain, I'm gonna cry. I feel like the one who's gonna die is gonna be Gavriel, and I don't want it. I want him and Adian to, well, what's gonna happen is they're gonna repair their bond, right? They're going to come to terms with all of the, you know, baggage that they've had over the years. Gavriel's gonna die, sacrificing himself for Adian. I just feel like this is what's gonna happen, because like she has to kill somebody. Sarah J. Maas is too much of a romantic at heart to like kill off anybody's spouses. That's my feeling. So she's gonna go for the parent. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want any of them to die. What was I saying? And now we just need Adian and Lysandra. Like, Lysandra almost died, and so Adian realized he was being a douche canoe and like apologized to her, and she accepted it so much as in like, okay, we can still work together and we can work on fighting this war together, but we are not together. And I'm like, I want them to be together. Oh my God. And then Dorian and Manon, oh, bless them. She offered to give up her freedom and her lifelong dream of, you know, just like being her own person for Dorian to be his queen, to unite Aderlin and the witch covens. And instead, oh my God, instead he goes to Morith, and Maeve discovers who he is, and she's trapped him there, and he's just trying to get these keys. And Erwin is there too, and Maeve and Erwin are like not working together, but they're not working together. It's stressful. I need pizza rolls to cope. I need some pizza rolls to cope. You guys, I'm not okay. For some reason, Dorian decided that it would be a great idea to ally himself with Maeve, and like he offered her his throne, and they were gonna like have an alliance and wed and what, and then they were going to work together to find the third word key. Dorian finds it. It's in a woman's arm, very similarly to how Kaltain was hiding a word key in her arm. And like, he got it from her, from the girl, snuck into Erwin's chambers, took out the word key, and then Maeve weaseled her fucking way right into his brain. It was the smile on her face, the predatory gait of her steps that had his magic rallying. Her dark power leapt upon his mind. He didn't have the chance to grab for Daenerys before he was snared in her dark web. Ah! Yo! I'm not okay. I'm really not okay. I think it was a trap. I think Dorian just trapped Maeve. She's telling him to leave, and then he very snarkily says, "Don't you think it's rude to leave without a note?" And then Maeve twisted toward him, but too late, too damn late, as the claw she'd hooked into his mind became mirrored in it, as flame, white-hot and sizzling, closed upon the piece of her she'd unwittingly laid bare in trying to trap him. A trap within a trap. Damn, Dorian. Dorian! Sneaky bitch. You're a sneaky, sneaky bitch. My camera's about to die, and I don't even care, because my brain is shook. I am shook. Dorian, what the fuck? He one-upped Maeve. Like, he did the thing. He shape-shifted her powers to prevent her from being able to jump through worlds. World Walker, no longer. I suggest you invest in a good pair of shoes. Sir, I'm so surprised that Dorian did this. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm so surprised, but I guess because I never really, I was never a huge Dorian fan. Like, I liked Dorian, and I really liked him once he got with Manon. The fact that Dorian is showing up right now and, doing the most. Manon, she came to save them. Thousands of Croatian witches came to save them. I love them so much. Hi friends! I figured we could use a little bit of a change up in our location for this vlog, since pretty much everything has been in front of the couch. I'm almost done with this book. I'm in the last home stretch of 200 pages, which isn't really a home stretch because that's a lot of pages still, but in the grand scheme of this 900 page book, it feels like the home stretch. I don't think we've talked about Manon and her 13 and the Battle of Orinth that just broke my heart. The entire army of Morath marches on Orinth, and they bring a witch tower, and they bring 3 witch towers, and they're able to take out 2 of them by planting wildfire, essentially, almost, into the ground and then blowing it up as they went over, but they missed but they missed the 3rd one, and so they had to take it out. It essentially vaporizes everything in its path. It turns it into ash, which is very appropriate for this book. Kingdom of Ash turns her kingdom into ash, literally. Manon's, oh God, it was so sad. Manon's wyvern gets attacked, Abraxos, and I thought this wyvern was a goner. I'm this thing is dying. She said the only thing surviving this book for certain is going to be Fleetfoot. And I felt, because that's an animal, it's a dog, and Abraxos is a Manon's pet, that Abraxos was going to be safe, but I wasn't really sure in this moment. Same witch that took out the wyvern in the 2nd book, Heir of Fire, tries to take out Abraxos. And then the woman whose wyvern Abraxos saves, okay, you can go ahead. That's fine. I'm not going to compete with you, semi-truck, even though you definitely had a red light. Whatever. What were we talking about? This semi is making me so upset. Are you getting over? Because that lane is going to end. Getting over. I would like to get over. Oh, because of this injury that Abraxos sustains during this aerial fight, he's unable to fly anymore, and Manon can't ride out on him. So, when the Witch Tower is getting ready to gear up to launch another attack, Manon's 13 leave her, and there's nothing she can do about it. They just leave without her, and they go, and I was like, oh no, I know what's gonna happen. And all of her 13 sacrificed themselves to take out this witch tower. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Manon loses literally every single one of her friends, her sisters. It was so sad. Imagine all of your closest friends and sisters. I'm going to shed a tear thinking about this again because it made me so sad. I feel like something else happened after that, but oh, Yes, Aelin and Dorian go to forge the lock. Get transported to this other, like, plane of existence while they're doing it. And what do you know but 12 gods and goddesses show up asking to be sent back to their homeland. And had I not been, like, I feel like at this point it's very obvious. It's like, yeah, of course there's 12 gods and goddesses. And it's just like a dumb moment, but I have been pointing out that they were handpicked by these gods and goddesses since, like, the first book. Like, this has been something that I have been talking about forever, and so it's very nice to see that I was correct and that came into fruition, because I have been tracking, like, this throughout all of the books, and at this point it's just like, of course, it feels so naturally slipped into the book that it felt like, of course, this is what's been happening all along, even though it's not. I don't think it was an of course up until this point. Gods and goddesses, like, don't even offer to help. They destroy Elena, who is unable to then go to the afterlife and live with Brandon. They leave Aelin and Dorian to figure out the rest of everything by themselves. And they're like, okay, peace out, we're going back to our homeland. And then they're going to take Erwin with them. Dorian's dad showed up. Oh, that was such a cool twist. It was like, nameless is my price. And they point out that the King of Aderlin never had a name. And he doesn't ever have a name in the books, it's just the king. And it was wiped from all the history books. Erwin took it from him. It's gone from his own mind. Nameless is my price. So he takes over in Dorian's stead, and Dorian gets shoved back into the world to rule, and then Aelin and him sacrifice themselves to make the lock. Aelin, it appears, loses all of her magic. And that's where I'm at. I mean, it makes sense for Aelin to lose all of her magic, but I'm also very sad that she's losing all of her magic. I don't think she's going to die. She's the main character. I swear to God, if they pull a Divergent move in this book, I will be pissed. I'm sad that she won't have her magic anymore, because I just love Rowan and Aelin's magic together and how much it complements like the other, and how it works and plays so well together. So it makes me sad for them.
Okay, we have to be quiet because it is well after midnight and I'm in the loft on my favorite couch reading my book. But I just started freaking out. Because, okay, Aelin just forged the lock and she's attempting to get back to Irelia from whatever, like, world between worlds she's hanging out in right now, and she's like falling through all these different worlds, and she fell through Brithian. She fell through, and she saw Race, and she saw Feyre, and I freaked out. She passed through a world of snow-capped mountains under shining stars, passed over one of those mountains where a winged male stood beside a very pregnant female gazing at those very stars. Fae. They were Fae, but this was not her world. I was hoping there'd be a reference to them in here, and I'm dying.
I am just reporting in to say that I feel hopeless. I feel that there is absolutely nothing at this point that can be done to save our characters, to save our country, to make anything better. It just feels like one big pile of hopelessness. And number two, Adian and Lysandra are the biggest teases that I've ever read about in a book. Like, the angst and the amount of times that Sarah J. Maas is teasing me, I can't handle it anymore. I cannot handle it anymore, and I swear to God, if the next day in this book does not happen soon, I'm gonna scream. I was right. Gabriel sacrificed himself to save Adian. Now he's dead, and that makes me really sad. And they only got to, like, meet like 30 seconds, just enough to acknowledge each other, have a passing glance, say like 4 words. And Gabriel sacrificed himself so they could close the gates to Orinth and possibly survive. It was just very, very, very sad. The end of this book is making me feel so incredibly hopeless because they're still fighting the Morith army. More of it has come. They're basically down to their dregs, and we still have Maeve and Erwin to contend with. I feel very hopeless that this is going to turn out in any positive way. We're in like an actual filming setup right now because I was editing this vlog when I realized that I never like gave you my final thoughts on this book or like updated what I thought of it at the end. So that's what we're going to do right now because I can't just end the vlog where it currently is. That would make no sense. I remember feeling so hopeless at the end of this book, like feeling like there was absolutely no way that our characters were going to be able to survive or to get through this or like do any, like there was no hope. It felt like absolutely hopeless. So many villains to still like defeat. There was Maeve and Erwin still, and our biggest threat, Aelin, didn't have her magic anymore. And so I thought it was really fun to watch these two villains be defeated without her magic. It was just such a smart way for Sarah J. Maas to like take out these villains to show like you don't need to have a fuck ton of superpowers and like vicious fire strength and whatever to be a badass and to take down the villain. You just need to be smart and have ingenuity and be creative, because that's really what ends up saving Aelin in the end, is that it's her cunning mind that like wins the day, not her flames. And I just loved that. Erwin is destroyed via Irene. Irene is able to like suck the Valg soul out of his head and then he like disintegrates. I thought that was super cool. I was like, you go, Irene. So Irene defeats him, which was just like nerve-wracking because, you know, she's pregnant. Everyone's worried. I was worried. We were all having a mental moment. That was super fun to see. I liked that they had the two villains defeated by different people and that Irene was one of them, because she becomes like such an important character as the series goes on. And we don't, like, we meet her in Assassin's Blade. We never see her again until Empire Storms, and now she's like fucking taking Erwin out. Like, I love that so much. She's such a badass. And then Aelin is defeating Maeve. And I don't remember exactly how she was able to defeat Maeve. Like, why am I already forgetting this? I just finished this book like, okay, it's been a month. That's why I'm forgetting it. I finished it like a month ago. But I know she was the one to defeat Maeve, which felt poetic and beautiful. That the thing that Maeve feared the most was Aelin and her magic and her wildfire. She lost the wildfire and she's still a threat. More importantly, they're all getting married. Adian and Lysandra end up getting married, and so do Elide and Lorcan, and that's really all I wanted, was for them to all to be happy and in love and just like getting to be with each other and not having to worry about any of the wars and battles and bullshit. And so I was ecstatic. Would have liked to see a little more concrete clarity, confirmation that Dorian and Manon were going to be a thing, because I love them together so much. But there were like hints in there that like they still had their eyes on each other. But I would have liked just a little bit more from them. Because I love them so much. Wish Dorian would have accepted her proposal. I know, I get why he didn't. I get why it wasn't done that way, but like still, I was like, but I want you guys to be together. I love y'all so much. So in the end, like this was exactly what I wanted from a series ending for this series. Like it hit everything that I wanted it to. I had the feels. I didn't cry as much as I did during A Court of Wings and Ruin. I feel like that's okay. Like I was in a very different place in life when I read that book versus when I'm reading this book. And so I feel like the emotional response difference makes sense. I really enjoyed where the characters ended up. The battles were great. I felt the pressure. I felt the hopelessness. I felt that there was nowhere to go that was going to be good. And then there was good. And it was the perfect amount of hopelessness balanced with like good resolution that I needed from this series, and I really appreciated that. I will definitely be rereading these books in the future, and I will recommend this book to anybody that will read it. Anyone who wants like a recommendation like this, I'm going to say read Throne of Glass. It definitely has shaped a lot of what I look for and like in my reading. Yes, there are things that are similar to it that are probably done better, but I wouldn't know to look for those things had I not read Throne of Glass, because this was my introduction point. Like this is where all of that came to fruition. I feel like it's such a bittersweet moment of closing the chapter on my favorite little babies, but knowing that like they're always there if I want them, and that they get to all live happily ever after together, and I get to now move on to her other stories and meet other new characters that I haven't gotten a chance to yet, and like see where their stories go.
I really hope that you guys enjoyed this reading vlog. I feel like I suck at reading vlogs. Like, they're never fun, they're never exciting, I don't do anything in them, I just read. I don't like take you guys fun places and stuff. Granted, we're in a pandemic, so I shouldn't be doing that, but I just feel like there's not a lot of like fun content involved in them. So if you've made it this far and you're still watching, like, thank you for being a top tier viewer. I really appreciate it. Like, you don't have any idea. I really appreciate it. These are not like a walk in the park kind of videos to make. They're very long, lots of editing. If you've read this book, well, I mean, I really hope you have if you've gotten this far. Otherwise, I'm sorry that I spoiled the entire freaking thing for you. Hopefully you didn't want to read it. I'd love to know what your guys' thoughts were on Kingdom of Ash and the Throne of Glass series as a whole and how it met with your expectations. Please tell me in the comments down below. If you'd like to follow me on any other platforms, my Instagram and Twitter handles are on the screen now. Please come be my friend. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I will talk to you very soon. Bye!